welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We have a slight change in our scheduling this morning. We're going to begin our first conversation with the Belize Fund for a Sustainable Future. And we have with us Ms. Chelsea Gill Anthony, and she is the Communications Officer at the Belize Fund. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chelsea. So you are here to discuss the Fund's fourth call for proposals or for concept notes. I'm basically inviting all of our viewers who are eligible for to apply for grants that are focused on sustainable development in Belize. Let's talk about the grant first and foremost.
All right. So every year, well, I'm not sure if we could jump right in, right? But
jump right in.
Jump right
Right
in.
ahead.
All right. So we're going to start with the call. So every year, the Belize Fund have one call for proposal, and this is where we invite eligible entities to apply for grant funding. This year, with a focus on 2 out of 4 thematic areas. That's sustainable fisheries and blue business innovation. Thing is, we have 2 types of funding, where we give to non-government entities and where we give to government entities. We have the government strategic allocation, where the here last week then I talk about the achievement of milestone 4 with BSUP and the Sustainable Ocean Plan. So we provide funding to 6 government agencies under the first government strategic allocation to meet them milestones under the blue bonds. And so when it comes to the non-government side now, we have the annual call, where we open in August, and today that the first day open.
Okay.
And so now entities like academic institutions like colleges or schools, private companies, private businesses, community-based organizations, NGOs, once they meet eligibility criteria, then they could apply for funding. And we got 2 types of grants, regular and community grants. The regular, that's small, medium, large. And so under the small, they could apply up to 50,000. They don't need no co-financing. And that for one maximum of 1 year. For the medium grants, they could apply for up to 150,000 Belize dollars. And that for 10% co-financing and up to 2 years. And then the large grant now that over 150,000 up to 500,000, and that is for 2 to 3 years with 25% co-financing. Now when people hear co-financing, they just think maybe 25 or 10% in a cash, but we accept in-kind contributions as well. And what that means is that if you already have equipment, software, or people, you put one cost value to that, and that the way you put towards that 10 or 20%, 25% co-finance.
You were talking about eligibility and the criteria to meet that. What is the criteria?
All right, so for the regular grants, one entity will want to apply for one grant, they have to be registered at Belize, and they have to operate for a minimum of 1 year prior to the call. So they would have to be in operation last year, August 25th, right? Okay. And then they have to show that they could manage the funds, they have project and financial management capacity. So then there are the 3, I would say, basic eligibility criteria. Now when we go through, because this process is a 2-step process. You submit the concept first. Once it gets accepted, then we invite you to develop the full proposal, right? So once one entity meet the eligibility criteria and it gets accepted, then develop the proposal. Then it goes through a screening. Where we look upon when one entity apply for grants is if it meet for we thematic areas, the same sustainable fisheries or blue business innovation. And it have to be aligned and it have to show impact. And a very competitive process. Last year we had 37 concepts get submitted, but we funded 8, right? So that's a very competitive process. But we try do the kind of outreach, sensitization, because a lot of people don't know about the Belize Fund and the funding opportunities.
Okay, that's where I was going to go next. So for the benefit of our viewers, those who may not know what the Belize Fund is and the work that it does, can you shed light on that for us?
Definitely. So the Belize Fund get established or created a little bit over 3 years ago when the blue bonds get in place between the government and the Nature Conservancy or TNC. And you have several important actors were involved in this blue bonds, because you're here from the government side. Once you hear blue bonds, you think government, right? But we, our private conservation trust fund, we get established to manage this money and disperse it as grants. And this is how we could ensure the transparency and accountability of the whole process. And why we say that too is that everything about the Belize Fund we publish online.
Yeah.
Everything. We audits, we reports. Even the projects that we fund, if people want to say who submit what, then you could send a full proposal, we post them up online, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things where when we talk about the management, we try to be very clear where if the public have concerns, then got questions, then go come to we.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that for our viewers, it would be critical for them to understand why this is so important. I think Isane has been doing a really good job at doing some reports on different projects, perhaps not all that are funded by the Belize Fund, but just the way that average citizens are able to assist in sustaining our natural environment, our blue environment, and so on. But how do some of these projects assist in perhaps changing policy in Belize when it comes to sustainability?
Well, policy, that's a very important part of our work. But more so we see that get enacted on the government strategic allocation side. On the non-government side now, we see a lot of community action. Right? And that the one next one of the grants then where people could apply for. Last year we put in the community grants because with eligibility, even though that three simple one we would think, well, a lot of community groups then they do good work, but then they not got no systems in place to show how they manage money. Right? And so they wouldn't have qualify. But now with the community grants where we put in, they could exist for less than a year, and we assist them to manage the funds. They have to tell we how they want to spend it, and we relieve them of the stress and pressures that have to manage the money. We make the payments there, we give the reports there, and so now they just have to focus on do the work. And so that the one next grant now, they could apply for regular and community grants, and for that one there, that up to 50,000, and they don't need no co-financing for that as well.
I find it incredible how you're able to select 8 out of 37.
That was last year's challenge.
Yes. How do you do that? I mean, the criteria is very simple, but how do you all as an entity go into these and say, okay, we have to pick 6 or we have to pick 8 out of the 37? How do you manage to do that?
Well, first of all, we could only give what we got, right?
Yes.
So we have a set amount of money where we could disperse every year. For this year, I believe that over $1 million, right? So when you hear the number of projects that we get approved in January, then I want to give you the total figure for that one day. But as it relates to how you select, right? Well, we have one Blue Bonds committee. Then are the ones where have to screen and make sure that it align to the thematic area. We got some priority areas that we don't put on the website already. So like for sustainable fisheries, you could look on the type of gears you use for reduce the amount of fish or catch with dead or get injured. Maybe the size of the lobster trap for filter out the smaller ones there. And even more project where could train fishers for how to collect data, right? And then when it comes to the blue business part, you could think about maybe jewelry or cosmetics, you know, maybe diversify the type of resources or business opportunities. Like we put ideas there, but not limited to that. If you have one brilliant, innovative idea to apply for, we encourage people to apply for it.
How do you guys do the monitoring and evaluating in terms of those who have received these grants? They have to ensure that their project or initiatives come to fruition. How do you ensure that everything is above board?
So we have one small but very capable team. We have a monitoring and evaluation officer, and that person that the one where they want to line up and use some big terms, but your implementation plan, where you say you want to do the activities there and the time frame you want to do it in, and then make sure that then track that on a quarterly basis. Now, let's say one project they're behind, maybe they have one delay in a hire somebody. You know, that person want command, it's maybe supposed to be command the first month, but they don't get hired till maybe month 4.
Right.
And then they have to do all the activities, you get one delay. The M&E officer now want make sure that, you know, they put certain things in place to make they could meet and deliver upon time. But we do have that check and balance in place to make sure that the projects they actually they do it instead of do, and within the time frame they're supposed to do it.
I think it's important for viewers that are watching right now to really understand what it is that they should be writing for this concept note. It's not an abstract,
Not
it's
an
not a
abstract.
proposal.
Just a concept.
It's just a concept note. So help me
About
understand that.
5 pages.
Okay.
But it's on an online platform. We have the template on our website, but you actually submit it through one portal. And what that basically the look pan the one summary of where you want to, the activities, your outputs, and one broad idea of the monies where you want your budget.
Right.
If the equipment, personnel, travel and accommodation, then kind of things there. Right? And so I would say for this discussion, I want people focused on the impact, because that's the biggest, well, one of the biggest criteria when we look pan for screen it, the kind of impact you want to have, right? Yeah.
I really appreciate that there are ways like this that you can get community members to be a part of projects that they're able to, because one of the biggest problems are finances,
Yes.
right? Can you talk about some of the projects that were selected and how well they were doing under this Belize fund?
Definitely. So far we fund a variety of projects. We support wild trucks when we do the wildlife rehab center for
That's
deal
up
with the
north.
manatees up north. Then you're familiar with the manatee man. For him
Yeah.
project may get funded as well.
Get everybody familiar with the manatee man. Galvez.
We focus on the seagrass now, the seagrass help. But for the community side now, we work with the Shinosh Fisherman Association, and then they try building capacity within the association. So then they look on different trainings they go on. I'm not sure if that one new building or one, how do I say, like renovation of an existing one, but now they have a building that they can conduct the trainings in. We also support shark fishers, so then they look on how they collect data with that on
That's
the
an interesting one, 'cause I'm glad we're having this conversation. I did a story with the Shark Fishers Association a few weeks ago, and it was quite an interesting and fascinating experience, right? Outside of the fact that we had to travel like 28 miles off the coast of Riversdale, but I think what piqued my interest is that it's all family, right? The members of the association and what they're setting out to do in terms of alternative livelihoods, right? So they're gathering data, right? They're no longer overfishing the shark fisheries and what have you. So they're looking at other ways that they can still remain productive in terms of their livelihood without having to exploit.
Yeah.
You say
This
that
is
Creole,
the
what
Martinez family.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Martinez family. But they're members of
Yes.
the Shark Fishers
Yeah.
Association,
Yeah.
right? And I think what's good about it is the fact that for a while we didn't hear much from them, right? And so to be able to feature the work that they do, right? It's just one of the many organizations that you guys work with.
Yes. And also too, one more very interesting, we work with Creative Imagery's Motion Arts Studio. Then they work with young people, women, to create like, I don't want to say cartoon, for minimize animation. Thank you. Animations, yes.
Yeah.
And then we'll tell one story. And Sabrina is a part of it.
Oh yes, I saw that. I
Yes.
think she's going to be a voice
Yes.
cast, right? Yeah.
Yes. So that one be very interesting when that come out with the support that as well.
I think it's really, and that's what I meant by different projects that are not so on the nose when it comes to sustainable development and so forth. You have these other projects that are doing other things that promote and campaign, right?
Yes, we look on even the Belize women seaweed. Our next one, our next story.
Okay, I get it now. I
Our
get it
next
now.
story, right?
That too was an interesting one.
Yes.
You know, like when we think seaweed, sea moss,
yeah.
right? We don't ordinarily think of women involvement in that kind of an initiative.
Right.
Right? We automatically think men because for long, most of the time when I have seaweed as in the seaweed shake,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
men who's selling seaweed and
Yep.
talk about all the benefits of it or what have
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
So there's no immediate or direct connection with women participating in that. But then the seaweed shake is only one thing, right? You use seaweed for so many other things.
I use it for my hair.
Yeah.
I
There we
comb out
go.
on my lifesaver right now. But
There's
yeah,
the-
there is
the seaweed story.
seaweed
Yes.
story and the seaweed farms. But it's very, very incredible to see that there's so many community projects that are being done when it comes to sustaining Belize's blue economy. I think that this is a great opportunity again. I really hope that you get more concept notes this time around. You said it opens today, August
Yes.
25th. When does it close?
So you have up to September 12th to submit a concept paper.
Okay.
The actual call closes on November 7th, but that is when the submission of the proposal, that stage there. But remember now that 2 steps. You have to get one accepted concept for you
Yeah.
to submit one full proposal for
Yeah.
funding. So we put that emphasis for please on submit one strong concept will show that ideas merit the funding.
And where do they go to submit all of this information?
Yes, they can go on our website, belizefund.bz, and we have all the information there regarding the eligibility, the priority areas, even the screening will happen after you submit, and the whole process from application to when you get one status update, that's 6 months. So for the full proposal. When you submit that full proposal November 7th, you will hear back by January whether or not it get approved for funding by the board.
What would make a concept note not be credible or eligible for submit? What would be something that would maybe perhaps turn off the selecting process?
Well, that comes, and we got project officers, right?
Yeah.
But for what I hear, the discussions is that maybe they have too much things in there where they want though.
You have to
They
streamline
have
Yes,
to
what it is you
too
wanna
much
do.
activity.
Be realistic.
It's not realistic for the time frame where they want to do it in,
Yeah.
or maybe show the impact on this, the thematic area, the sustainable fisheries or the blue business innovation, how you really want to achieve that.
Yeah.
And then remember it also tie back to the Blue Bonds initiative. So once you could show how that they contribute to achieving or contributing to achieving the milestones or the undertakings, then that was stronger proposal, concept you have.
And is there a time frame that they have to complete the project?
So yes, depending on what type of grant you apply for. The small, medium, large, they have either the 1, 2, or 3 year, and then a community grant, a 1 year as well.
Okay. So realistically, if I have a bunch of stuff that I want to do, it's best to apply for something that would give me a little bit more time to be able to produce the project.
Yes, something where one realistically could get done within that 1 or 2 years where they apply for. And the funding as well where they ask for. I think maybe some projects then submit say like 100,000 and 60% of that's salary.
Yeah.
You know, they're not actual putting it into activities, paying one person. So you look on them kind of things there as well when you're the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think paying yourselves isn't impactful for the environment.
Well, it is. I know it is, but make sure that it's reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Right,
The
no, of course,
proportion.
of course.
Yes.
Definitely.
I think one of our viewers were wondering how is it that some projects are able to realistically continue to sustain themselves under the fund with impacts like climate change and global warming and so on.
So interestingly, we have 4 thematic area, and one of them are climate resilience. But the
Yeah.
reason why we're not focused on protection for biodiversity and climate resilience in this particular call is that we really want to reach down to local leadership when it comes to communities, and I feel like the sustainable fisheries and the blue business innovation, those 2 thematic area, and then 2 of the smaller in terms of amongst where we give.
Yeah.
We want to focus on them 2 there. But there may be maybe next year that we open to climate resilience. But certainly if you can weave in and integrate that into how you build sustainability, that's
Perfect.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Climate resilience is such a buzzword these past few years,
Yes.
given everything that has been happening around us with climate change and what have you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish all of the projects the very best. I hope that you all have a successful roll call for September. And of course, for our viewers, one last time, the deadline and where they can submit.
Certainly. So the deadline for submit one concept paper, that's September 12th, and they can do so on our website, belizefund.bz.
And if they need assistance, perhaps, in developing a concept note, can they contact you all as well?
So not at the concept stage,
Okay.
but we do provide support for community because they don't have the capacity,
Yeah.
right? So we would hire a consultant for walk them through the process of proposal development, but they still have to have an accepted concept to get
note
our
first.
support.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We hope to hear back from you again. I know you and Isani will probably have a conversation after this, but
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us. And of course, to our viewers, head on over to the Belize Fund website to submit your concept note if you have a project that can fit one of these two thematic areas. Thank you so much, Chelsea.
Thank you too.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the University of Belize is going to be joining us about how they're planning to celebrate 25 years of existence. We'll be right back.